So I think that every country needs a set of rules or guidelines in which to operate so that citizens know what they can, what they cannot do, but also it's about what rights we have and how to protect those.
I don't know anything about the Constitution.
The last time I did it was in high school, that's why I don't know.
ukuthi abantu bayazi amalungelo wabo ngokwazi amalungelo wabo i-constitution ibanika i-guideline ukuthi imaphi ama-rights wabo.
And I think the constitution exists so that we as South Africans can acknowledge our rights, know that as a country we've moved forward from the injustices of the past, and that now we have access to opportunities and privileges.
It's a relationship between the laws of the state or our country. So it's the right of us as citizens. It's kind of a middle ground.
The Constitution is basically there to make sure that there's law and order, there's fairness amongst people, and things are done accordingly to principle or systematized so that people can be fair to each other, equal. Yeah.
Okay, so I said I believe it's because we're supposed to have rights, but at the same time also responsibilities. That means as much as we have rights, there's limits to them. So that's why there's things like laws and all that, so that you know as much as you have freedom to certain things, and there's an extent to which. Like for example, this whole thing of freedom of speech, where they say it doesn't extend to things like hate speech and all that. So as much as it's to provide us with freedom, but with limited freedom, because there's certain things that like are not allowed. So without the Constitution, there'd be no law to guide people, and I can't see everyone living in a world where crime is legal like all around. So we need some sort of restriction. Yeah.
South Africa's always had a written constitution, going back as far as 1910. But there are a few countries that don't have written constitutions, like the United Kingdom. But apart from those few exceptions, everybody has written constitutions, because unless you have something written down, citizens don't know what their rights are, and states don't know what their obligations are. And that codification, that writing down itself, is an important act, because while you're writing something down, you are deciding what will be the way you're going to live as a country. South Africa's constitution is progressive in many ways. I think that we should look perhaps in detail at Chapter 2, because the first thing about that is that the Bill of Rights includes rights around dignity and equality, which go way beyond what other constitutions have put in place. But we didn't write it because we wanted to be progressive. We wrote this constitution because we believed in these values. So we introduced rights around reproduction, around land, around political association, because those were things that we struggled against. So not that we set out to be progressive, but that we broke ground for other countries, and we entrenched in our constitution things we thought were important in the late 1990s. But there are some fundamental changes to our lives as South Africa. The most fundamental is that all South Africans are considered equal. Now, that doesn't mean that South Africans behave equally to everyone, but the Constitution protects people who are discriminated against and gives them ways to actually challenge in court those who think they are superior. So in South Africa, you have access to information. If the state holds information about you that you need, you can ask for it. If the state or any company holds information about you, you can ask for it. And we do. Newspapers do it all the time. Civil society groups do it. Occasionally individuals do it. Small rural groups have asked for information about the plans that local municipalities have been making about them. They can see those things. So we have access to information. The second thing we have is something which we don't use as much as we could, and that's a thing called the Administration of Justice Act.
PAJA, that is an act that enforces. PAJA stands for the promotion of access to administrative justice, meaning the processes which are taken or followed when implementing a service delivery or giving a service to a person. And then if the person feels an unjust process has been taken, then they have the right to use the PAJA form in trying to address that issue and getting the process corrected.